So it's holiday season here at Section 420 Talkin Yankees. So let's see what we got in Santa's stocking for the staff there. So we got, you get a wiffle ball. You get a wiffle ball. And looks like you also get a wiffle ball. Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees. Well, it is truly the holiday season because for now, 2 episodes in a row, you're getting a breaking news type of episode. Literally, as we're recording this right now, trade just went down. The Yankees bring in Cody Bellinger, which, we kind of figured that the Yankees were targeting him, especially after they struck out on Tucker. Just going down right now, trade for Bellinger, and the Yankees sending out Cody Petit, as well as the Cubs going to pick up $5 million of Bellinger's contract for next year. So we'll get into all the numbers like this stuff. And if you remember the last episode we recorded, literally the Max Fried signing went down. So it's the same thing. It's like 2 episodes in a row where a big deal is going down. So this is all breaking news. So we'll get it all to you. But a lot of other stuff, Cashman's been really ferocious ever since, the Yankees kind of swung and missed on Soto. He bolted for Queens. Fine, let him go there. But obviously seen a lot of moves. Not only Max Fried, but also now with Bellinger come down and another move adding to the bullpen, Devin Williams, and kind of, re-signing Jonathan Loaizaga. I guess Loaizaga never left, but nevertheless, bringing him as well. So again, Cashman very busy, so we'll get into the whole thing. But of course, a couple episodes, I did promise you that we will get into Hall of Fame talk. Of course, the big 2 names we're going to be looking at as, the Yankee fans is CC Sabathia and Ichiro. Of course, Ichiro is a no-brainer, but I'll give you the numbers anyway. But we'll make the argument and go through the numbers for CC Sabathia. Whether he'll be a Hall of Famer, probably will. But I guess the question is going to be, will he be a first ballot Hall of Famer? So a lot of good stuff for the episode. So we got current Yankee news, breaking Yankee news from a couple days ago, and some CC Sabathia talk. So big power-packed episode for you here. But before we get started, make sure if you really want to increase the joy of the holiday season as well as have the best 2025 ever, make sure you subscribe to the audio podcast version of the show, Section 420 Talkin Yankees, the podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube or TV, make sure you subscribe here to the YouTube channel as well. Get everything this holiday season. So initially, we're going to lead this episode off with Devin Williams talking and the Yankees bringing in the Milwaukee Brewers closer. But of course, the bigger news right now is that Cody Bellinger is officially now a Yankee. And again, once the Yankees kind of didn't get Soto, you heard a couple of names that the Yankees would bring in, kind of the second tier down, was either making a trade for Kyle Tucker from Houston or Cody Bellinger with the Chicago Cubs. Now, they they did kick the tires on Kyle Tucker there, but the rumors were that the Astros wanted Luis Gil in a package from the Yankees, and the Yankees were kind of not going to budge on that. So ultimately, Tucker gets traded to the Cubs, and then the Cubs send Bellinger to the Yankees in a deal, which include, I mentioned before, Cody Petit, as well as they're going to chip in $5 million. So look at some of the stuff. So initially with Brian Cashman, I knew that at some point he was looking to shop away Nestor Cortez, and he would ultimately trade him away to the Milwaukee Brewers. But I thought maybe Cortez and someone else would go to the Houston Astros to get Kyle Tucker. But nevertheless, looks like the Astros didn't want that. They wanted Luis Gil, which I can't blame them. He's just the reigning American League Rookie of the Year. And you see what he could do with the Yankees. High 90s fastball, and he's just kind of getting started. Just had his first season with the Yankees there as a complete full-time starter there. So yeah, of the two, if you're Houston, you'd rather have Luis Gil than Nestor Cortez. So I guess Cashman didn't want to budge there, and I thought that was the right move. I'd rather keep Luis Gil. So he's under control to like 2029. He just won the Rookie of the Year, as I mentioned there. And again, you see what his stuff is just as good, maybe just as nasty as Garrett Cole when he's on there. So I would not want to lose that. As much as it'd be nice to bring Kyle Tucker in, because if you're going to lose Juan Soto, Tucker would be at least a guy that could replace him in right field there. Left-handed bat with some pop and power and all that jazz. But nevertheless, once Tucker was out of the picture there, then you were hearing that the Yankees were going hard for the Cubs, for Cody Bellinger. And it was just a matter of, I don't think it was really about the amount of players, because I think the Cubs is looking to unload that contract. He was due $27.5 million next season. So more than anything else, I don't think they're looking for prospects. I think they were just kind of more looking about what type of money that they would kick in or not. And I think that was kind of the standoff a little bit. And ultimately, I guess Cashman got them to budge. They'll kick in $5 million. So it's a good deal for the Yankees. Cody Petit, he's kind of one of those guys, one of those Cashman like experimental on. I would put like Will Warren in there, Luke Weaver, Cody Petit. Now, obviously, Weaver, we look at him differently because now we know what he could do potentially there. But, Warren, Weaver, Petit, again, those kind of guys like that. This is not like one of the Yankees' top prospects. I mean, the Yankees didn't have to give up Spencer Jones and they had to give up Jason Dominguez to get him here. It was just pretty bad, I think, because Bellinger's making so much money that it was just mad about how much money the Cubs were going to kick in. They had to kick in some, so they will kick in $5 million. And then Bellinger also signed through 2026, so the money could maybe split for the 2025 salary, or they could break it off and take a piece of the 2026 salary. But nevertheless, the Yankees are gonna have to pay a majority of that. But ultimately, they get their guy, and I think this is a great addition for the Yankees. I mean, he not only could play center field, he could potentially move Judge back to right, where maybe there's less stress on his knees there. Plus, Bellinger could play first base, which, I mean, if you look at what Rizzo's given the Yankees the past couple of seasons, Bellinger is like an upgrade of like tenfold there. So great addition for the Yankee offense. Can you say Bellinger makes up for the loss of Soto? No, but it really softens the blow. Again, it's really hard to replace Soto there, but if you're going to replace him, with Bellinger, you're not skipping too much of a beat there from the Yankees. So definitely a great addition by Cashman there. Again, the Yankees have to pay him up, but again, he's only signed through 2026. Technically, you're not on hook for the guy for the next 5 years. And of course, Yankee fans, we all know Bellinger, the family, the father played for the Yankees. Ironically, was also number 35. That's Clay Bellinger. And probably his claim to fame was that game in the 2000 World Series, Game 1 against the Mets. That's when Timo Perez was rounding third, coming home there. Bellinger takes a ball off the wall there, throws it into Jeter, and Jeter throws it to Posada to tag Timo Perez out there. Big play there early on in that Game 1 of that World Series there. So, Bellinger, the father, not much with the bat there, but I guess that was his moment as a Yankee there. And of course, funny enough, they took his 35. They actually, when the Yankees signed Mike Mussina in 2001, they actually had to call Bellinger and had him give up his number 35 because that was part of what they offered with Mussina. So Mussina became 35. And of course, lo and behold, yada, yada, yada. Here we are with Clay Holmes leaving the Yankees. 35 happens to be available. And I guess as sure as you could bet, I'm sure Cody Bellinger will also be 35 as the Yankees. But again, this is breaking news coming down right now. I just mentioned this, so it's just good we got this in there because we had a similar situation with Matt Fried last episode. That signing just went down just before we started recording there. So good news for the Yankees. Great pickup. Again, they have to eat up. It's a lot of money, but again, this is not money that you thought maybe you have to go to Soto, which you're not spending. So it's almost like, again, this is still a good deal for the Yankees. And again, he's only under contract through 2026 technically, and after that, so you're not stuck with the guy. So great deal by Cashman. So I gotta say, so far, since this Soto walked away from the Yankees, there, all the moves so far have been great for the Yankees. Max Fried, adding a top quality frontline starter there, left-hander there. Now with Bellinger, and of course, we'll get into the next, Devon Williams. Now, one area, whether the Yankees re-signed Soto or not, that I figured the Yankees had to focus on was the bullpen because, they felt, if you remember this latest postseason run, really the high leverage guys you would say was Canely, Clay Holmes, and Luke Weaver. And it seemed like, they had to go to him too often. And again, the way the game is now, you need to have like the Dodger bullpen has. You need really like almost 4 or 5 horses you can bring out there. Because it's just the way the game is now. These starters, especially in the postseason, they barely go 5 innings now. You need a deep, fortified bullpen. And I felt the Yankee bullpen didn't really hurt the Yankees, but it kind of, again, if they had to kind of go to Luke Weaver a little bit earlier than they wanted to in some situations, and they were kind of left holding the bag, that if the game went into extra innings, they were dead on arrival. And he had a situation like Game 1 of the World Series there, where you have to put Nestor Cortez, who hadn't pitched in like 2 months out there in a situation against Freddie Freeman, and shockingly gives up a grand slam. Again, the Yankees didn't kill the Yankees really overall. You say they survived. They dodged a bullet a little bit, but Cashman did have to address the bullpen, and he did in the big way by bringing one of the best closers in the game. A trade with the Milwaukee Brewers for Devon Williams, trading away Nestor Cortez, as well as Caleb Durbin, someone who we introduced on the show here a little bit, and most mentioned on the audio podcast. Second base prospect who was tearing up in the Winter League there. And, he figured if the Yankees weren't going to sign Gleyber Torres, which again, I don't think the Yankees were ever going to have an interest in that, and remains to be seen there. He's at least a young guy who could have competed for the spot. You would have liked to root for him. He's a prospect from your system there, and it seemed like he's been tearing up lately. But of course, you want to get a talent like Williams, you have to give up talent there. So of course, I understand to give up Durbin in this situation. I'm okay with it. I think it's a good trade for the Yankees. And Nestor Cortez, look, the writing was on the wall. We all like the guy. He's a fan favorite. It's hard to see, but I think obviously we've seen the best of Nestor Cortes, and especially after they signed Fried, I think the writing was on the wall that Cortes was going to become expendable. The Yankees already have too many starters as is. I know injuries happen and these things solve themselves, as Joe Torre used to say. But you got Stroman on the contract for one more season. Plus you have Clark Schmidt locked in as your fifth starter. So there really no room for Nestor Cortes. You have Cole already. Obviously we thought maybe he would opt out, but not. He opted out and opted back in. So he's in there. You got Rendon already. You got Luis Heel. There's just not enough room. So it made Cortes expendable. So I thought maybe they trade Cortes to Houston to try to get Kyle Tucker. That didn't happen, but they included Cortes in this deal for Durbin. And I think it's a good deal. It's a good situation for Nestor Cortes. I guess get an opportunity to reestablish himself. Goes to pitch for the National League Central. You got some bigger ballparks, so maybe it'll be beneficial to him, and he can kind of reinvent himself. Because I think we saw the best we're ever going to see of Nestor Cortes already. Last season wasn't that good. He had a couple of hard luck losses, but he really hasn't been the same since like 2022. And I just don't think it was going to work out here for him. So you wish him the best of luck. It just unfortunately it had to end. But Yankees getting Devin Williams here, who probably will take over the closer role from Luke Weaver. I know even though Weaver's technically the closer right now, but of course Williams has more of the resume there, and I think it's better for the Yankees because really a closer just does one inning there. That's what Devin Williams does. Luke Weaver, as we all know, he's a multi-inning type of relief pitcher, and I think he's better pitching the 7th and 8th inning, going multiple innings there. So I think it's better for him and better for the Yankees for him to be the setup man, where they have to get out of the jam in the 7th, pitch the 8th, and then hand the ball over to Williams in the 9th. So I would expect Williams to be the closer once everything's all official there. Now, look at it. Williams' history there. He was the 2020 National League Rookie of the Year back in 2020, the COVID season, but nevertheless, two-time All-Star. He has 68 saves since he's been in the bullpen for the Brewers there, and amazing career ERA of 1.83. So a career ERA under 2, which is great for a relief pitcher. And now the only little thing that could be a bugaboo about him is that last season he did have a stretch fracture in his back there, caused him to miss a whole chunk of the season. But when he did finally play, he was just as spectacular as ever in 22 games with 14 saves and 38 strikeouts in 21 and a 2/3 inning. So this is someone who averages about 2 strikeouts per inning there, and a record of 1-0 last season in 22 games again. And even though he missed a chunk of the season with the stress fracture in his back there, when he did start playing, he was just as good as he always been. So it doesn't seem like it's that big of an issue. Now, unfortunately, we've seen the Yankees get some hard luck guys in there, like a Frankie Montas come in hurt there, but it doesn't seem like that situation, because we see him pitch, really good for the Brewers last season towards the end of there. Now, he also gave up that one big home run in the postseason to Pete Alonso there. Okay, that's a little bit of a blemish, but hey, we've seen Luke Weaver give up a game-winning home run, against Cleveland, one of those games. Even the great Mariano Rivera, as ready to remember the home run he gave up to Sandy Alomar Jr. in '97. So look, you could be a great pitcher, a great closer, and also give one up once in a while. It happens there, but this is definitely a good move for the Yankees. Just to bolster the bullpen there, because of course, with losing Clay Holmes as a setup, the Yankees had to go with somewhere else, but they actually, instead of this, you can now slot Luke Weaver to take over Clay Holmes' role there, and put Devin Williams now as your closer. And now this is going to be a 1-year rental. He's 30 years old. He turned down the Brewers turned down the player option for him for $10.5 million there, so probably go to arbitration with the Yankees, probably get more than $10 million, but then he hits free agency in 2025. So this is going to be just a 1-year rental, but for 1 year, you definitely would take this ride. Now, before the Devin Williams trade went down, the Yankees did make a 1-year deal to get signed/re-signed Jonathan Loizaga, who we know we lost last season. Just pitched for a handful of games, had some elbow discomfort, turned out it was a torn UCL, needed season-ending surgery, and he figured maybe he'd be done as a Yankee. And you heard some rumors that both the Yankees and even the Mets were kicking the tires on him. Now, I was a little bit surprised. The Yankees did sign him, though, a 1-year deal, which includes an option for 2026. Now, initially, I did not like the deal because we just went through this last season. I mean, how many guys were the Yankees waiting on? Of course, Tommy Kahnle was delayed to start the season. They had a back spasm. Scott Efros had some mystery back surgery that delayed him. And we finally saw Efros towards the very end of the season and really had nothing. His fastball wasn't what the Yankees were hoping it would be, and he was pretty much a non-factor. Of course, we know the great Lou Trevino, who I didn't even really get this one as old, coming off Tommy John surgery himself, and Cashman signed him for like a 1-year deal for like $5 million, and we never saw the guy. So we had too many projects last season of guys coming back that never did. So initially, I didn't like this Loizaga deal, even though, yes, you would root for Loizaga, you like him because he's been here for a couple of seasons, came up through the system, you want to see him succeed, but at a certain point, you can't just keep relying on these guys coming back from Tommy John surgery. But now the fact that the Yankees got Williams there, you're not relying as Loizaga as much there, now he's kind of more of a throw-in, then this deal makes more sense. So they still haven't released actually the amount of money yet, but it is a one-year deal. He will be back. Now, the only bugaboo, though, about him is that they say he's probably not going to be ready by opening day, so this is going to be almost like a Tom McKinley situation where, like, we're waiting for him June, they're waiting for him July there, so we don't know exactly when he's going to be back there. But we saw what he could do potentially during the 2022 postseason run there when he was the righty setup for Clay Holmes. And for his first time doing it, he was pretty good. He was almost flawless there. So I think he can handle this situation. It's just is his elbow fully repaired? What can he be back to? Because we remember before the surgery there, I mean he was hitting 98, 99 consistently. We had one of the best fastballs in the game there coming out of the pen, one of the hardest throws there. So if he could recapture that and he get his stuff there, again he can be nasty, can be good there. But again, it's a good move for the Yankees. But he still probably need to make one or two more so you can really have, again, those four guys, I would say the four horsemen of goodness, not the apocalypse, but four. You still want that other player now. Also heard the Yankees are interested in bringing Tom McKinley back again. I like the guy, but I think let's just got to cut bait with the guy, man. That would be like this almost like third or fourth go-around with the Yankees. And he just throws the same pitch over. It's this off-speed pitch, off-speed pitch, off-speed. I know he has success on it, but he just throws one pitch over and over again. Would it be the worst thing in the world if they bring him back? No, but let's just look at some other areas. I'd rather just get another power arm to bring in there. Just have guys coming in and throwing gas because that's just the way the game is this day. And really briefly, I almost didn't want to mention this, but we kind of have to mention this because the Juan Soto official Met press conference. Where, of course, we all knew this was going to be the situation with him. He kind of said, well, I wasn't going for the most money. I just feel that the Mets are better set up, for the next couple of years. I mean, you got to be kidding me on that one. I mean, just look at their starting rotation, which includes, as we speak right now, Frankie Montas, Clay Holmes. I mean, they could be good, but or Cody Bellinger, I guess technically is the ace right now, and Peterson. You tell me that's better right now that the Yankees could throw out there, even before they made the Max Fried deal of just Cole and Rendon. I mean, those two alone would be better than all those five there, though. So I don't buy that stuff. And of course, it was all official. Yes, the Mets threw in a sweep there, which he wanted from the Yankees, and the Yankees didn't give in to that. Because look, if you didn't give it to Jeter, you didn't give it to Judge. You can't give it to Soto because then the next big free agent that comes along, he's also going to want a suite there. And it seemed like he also wanted his entourage to come in there and just kind of run the coop, so to speak, like that. And the Yankees weren't going to put up with that there. So Soto needed his entourage, he needed his suite for his family, of course. But of course, we don't know. It was and him to say that he just feels like the Met organization, because player-wise, the players on the field are better set up for the next couple seasons versus the New York Yankees. Look, the Mets are going to be very good. Don't get me wrong with that, but don't give me a break. It was all about the money and the suite, and you wanted that stuff there. So Soto's a little bit of a nonsense there, but nevertheless, just really didn't go out, really didn't go out, with any sort of really good integrity with the Yankees. Let's put it that way. And again, demand that stuff from the Yankees and just kind of saying, oh no, it had nothing to do with that. It had nothing to do with the money. It's just I feel that the Mets, the team they put out there right now will be better than the Yankees full season. That's just a bunch of nonsense. And even though there's no active baseball during winter, as you know, some of the things that we do like during the offseason, of course, is all the big free agency signings, the winter meetings, but of course, it means Hall of Fame talks just around the corner. And since I promised that we'll get into this, let's get into this. Now, the Baseball Writers Association have till December 31st to postmark their vote. So it has to be postmarked by the 31st, and they make the announcement on January 23rd. And of course, a player to get voted in has to receive 75% of a thumbs up from the baseball writers in order to get in. Now, last season, I thought the class was a little soft. I mean, I think he had three tremendous, really good players, and that was Todd Helton, Joe Mauer, and Adrian Beltre. Now, Beltre at least had over 500 home runs, but I get overall, though, I think it was a very soft type of class there. And of course, there could have been a fourth person in there, and that was Billy Wagner, the longtime Astro closer. I fell just a little bit short at 73.8. So my guess is that Wagner will probably get in because other than Mariano Rivera, you look who are the two other best maybe closers of that era. Hoffman, of course, you would say him, and of course Billy Wagner. I think they both, you could make a case, maybe more Hoffman than Wagner, but it's not gross that Wagner gets in there. If you just kind of, the way we define closer now, again, 20 years ago, no one cared about closers in that way, unless you like Dennis Eckersley. That was about it. But nevertheless, games have changed a little bit. So I could see Wagner getting in. And of course, the contemporary committee already voted in Jim Leyland, the longtime Pittsburgh Pirate as well as Detroit Tiger manager. So Leyland will definitely be in. probably Billy Wagner, but of course us as Yankee fans were wondering about more CC Sabathia because he won a championship with the Yankees and he became the Yankee ace for a number of years, and of course Ichiro Suzuki, who came with the Yankees for a brief cup of coffee, but of course we all know him as a Seattle Mariner, and when he goes in, I'm not going to really stress on him too much because he's a no-brainer. He'll go in as a Mariner, and he should go in as Mariner because that's where he played his best years and the majority of his years there. But Ichiro's number is insane, and the fact that he didn't start in the States until age 27, so just imagine if he could have played his entire career here in Major League Baseball. If you go between both the Japanese League and here, hit well over 4,000 hits, and here in the MLB, he had over 3,000 hits, which again puts him in as a shoo-in. But let's just go over his numbers real quick. So he was the 2001 both Rookie of the Year and American League MVP. Only other player to do that was Fred Lynn in the 75 for the Angels there. So again, right off the bat, not only the Rookie of the Year, but the MVP of the league, 2-time batting champion, 10-time Gold Glove. We all remember he used to be able to do in right field there, and plus had a gun of an arm there. 10-time All-Star, 3-time Silver Slugger. Played 19 seasons in MLB, so it's not just like a brief cup of coffee here, and still had a career batting average of 311. So I mean, you hit over 300 for your career batting average, plus have 3,000 hits. I mean, again, he's going to be a first ballot shoo-in, and again, he finished at 3,889 hits. So did he hang on a little bit towards the end of his career there with the Miami Marlins and stuff? Yeah, maybe, but hey, look, still almost played 20 years in Major League Baseball. Definitely one of the best players of his era, and he might be someone similar to like a Mariano. He might get like 100%. Or he might be like a Derek Jeter situation where like one baseball writer will not vote him in, but I don't see that happening. He might be unanimous just because his numbers are off the chart there. But of course, we got to look at CC Sabathia, who I think overall he'll get in at some point, but I think we're curious, would he get in? Is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? I can't say he's a no-brainer first ballot Hall of Famer, but is he a Hall of Famer? Yes, indeed. And again, we'll go through his numbers. Again, why I think he kind of is automatic is, number one, he has a Cy Young under his belt, and he has over 3,000 strikeouts. So kind of look at 3,000 hits for hitters, over 3,000 strikeouts, almost a shoo-in as a pitcher. He ended up at 3,093. So it's funny, he had 3 more strikeouts of his career than Ichiro had hits there, but well over 3,000. And he had the 3rd most strikeouts of any left-hander in baseball history, only behind Randy Johnson and Steve Carlton, 2 Hall of Famers as well there. Now, the things that hurt him a little bit is his ERA. So he has a career ERA of 3.74. So it's kind of on the high level. That's true there. But you got to look at the era he pitched in. I mean, he came up in 2001, same as Ichiro, but pitching, again, a lot of his years in what you call, quote unquote, the steroid era. So that kind of hurt him a little bit. I think baseball writers will kind of put that into consideration, as well as he had 3 seasons with the Yankees where he started to break down a little bit, and he kind of had that little funk where he lost the weight, then he had the knee problem, and then kind of had some of the off-the-field substance abuse problem there. Like, it was really 3 seasons. It was 2013, ERA of 4.78. That's kind of high there. 2014 was even worse at a 5.28 ERA, and then last but not least 2015, where he kind of corrected himself a little bit, but still was not fully back yet, and an ERA of 4.73. So you take those 2 ERAs, almost one of them is over 5, and 2 of them are close to 5 there. I think those 3 seasons alone really contribute a lot to that 3.74. So are you going to like hold him accountable for that just for I mean, he had a 19 career season, same as Ichiro. Are you going to really hold him back over just those 3 seasons there? And he did reinvent himself by 2016 and 2017, 2018 for the Yankees. He was very good. I mean, he kind of reinvented himself like Andy Pettitte and became a different type of pitcher. And of course, it took till 2019 where he came out of the bullpen one of the games against the Houston Astros, and literally he pitched till his arm fell off. I mean, that's what Sabathia gave to the game there. So I think you got to take all those things into consideration that, yes, he did have that little bump in the road there in those 3 years, but he did correct himself and reinvented himself there. Similar to what Mike Mussina did with the Yankees, and I think you should take that into account. Again, Mussina had a couple of seasons where it kind of lost a little bit, high ERA, had some groin problems, some hamstring problems, and kind of reinvented himself in his final season in 2008 and won 20 games. And as speaking of Sabathia, of a 20-game winner, that's one of the things you also look at of somebody you want to consider for the Hall of Fame. Well, he did it once, and that was 2010. He won 21 games, but he also had 3 other seasons where he won 19 games. So again, if you want to take 3 wins there and add it to that, you have someone who potentially won 20 games for 4 seasons. Again, it's a lot of what ifs and stuff like that, but still, you're going to take a loss or win one here, there to hold some back from going into the Hall of Fame. I don't think it really makes sense there. And another thing that hurts him a little bit is his overall career record. So 251 wins versus 161 wins. So he's only 90 games over the 500 mark there. Now, Mike Mussina, one of the cases for him, even though he didn't have 300 wins, though, he was well over 100 wins over 500 for his career there but again, it was just so very close there. And Mike Mussina's ERA was just a little bit lower, career ERA just a little lower. Sabathia at 3.68 there. But again, just about the same as Mussina, more or less there. So if you take those things into account, and Mussina never really won a Gold Glove. Sabathia did, also a 6-time All-Star. And if it wasn't for Ichiro, I mean, really, if you look at Sabathia, his first season, 2001, his record was 17-5 for a rookie. In normal circumstances, he would have been the rookie of the year. But of course, Ichiro, of course, coming from Japan there and his splash on the scene and putting up an MVP type season, it's hard for Sabathia to beat that. But really, you look at Sabathia, also really should have been, in normal circumstances, the 2001 rookie of the year. And of course, mentioned before, Sabathia also has a ring with the Yankees there. So you take those things all into consideration, and I think, yes, Sabathia is definitely a Hall of Famer. Is he a first ballot? Probably not in normal circumstances, but if you're going to tell me that Todd Helton is a Hall of Famer, if you're going to tell me that Adrian Beltre is a Hall of Famer, then you got to make CC Sabathia a Hall of Famer. And again, Mike Mussina, I made the case for him until he finally got it. Was Mussina a super slam dunk? No, because there were a lot of the things where you had like add a win here, add a win there, add a win there. Look at the era he pitched in and stuff like that to help him get him in. But I think Sabathia is just about there as well. You have to look at Sabathia. Was he one of the best pitchers of the era he pitched in? Definitely yes. Had a tremendous rookie season. 2 seasons there, we kind of blipped a little bit, but then finally turned it on. And if you look at the years he put in with Cleveland, when they're back on the Indians, that kind of postseason running in 2008, they traded him to the Brewers and was an absolute beast during that 2008 postseason. Unfortunately, they fell short, but he did like everything literally he could do to get them, push them as far as he can. Comes in the Yankees in 2009, wins a championship, and puts really, I would say 3 or 4 really high quality, good. I mean, he could just easily won the Cy Young in 2010. He didn't there. So, so he gave the Yankees really 5 good quality years. And like I mentioned before, had a little bump in the road there for a couple seasons, but then reinvented himself. And again, and I understand, well, his 251 wins is not close to 300, but this is a different era right now. Again, we have the 5-man rotation, all the days off, the way they baby these pitches now, and they go to the bullpen. This is not like 20, 30 years ago where we have an opportunity to win 300 games. Probably like the Greg Maddoxes and the Tom Glavines of the world, and that's probably like the last of their ilk to do that. And you're probably not going to see too many 300 game winners anymore in the game. This is just the way it is now. Again, it's all bullpen games and add extra days off, and let's baby these pitches and pitch counts and stuff like that. And it's hard for these pitches to get wins the way they could have 30, 40 years ago. So you can't use the 300 against CC Sabathia. So I think the 251 in the era he's pitched in, as well as look at the ERA, yes, it is a little high at 3.74, but I mentioned before, there was only really 3 seasons that really caused it to spike that much. You take those away, then it's significantly lower. And again, he pitched, again, Sabathia, what you call the steroid era. I mean, he came up in 2001 there, and so he's kind of pitching in the middle of the era. And the Mitchell report didn't come out to 2008. That was 7 years later. And again, Sabathia's first couple of years pitched through all that era there, where they didn't have like the crazy testing that they have today there. So you have to give Sabathia a little leeway in that. So if I had to take a guess, is he going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer? Maybe not. It might come a little short. I wouldn't be shocked. But if he doesn't get it by like year 2 or year 3, it's definitely something wrong. He might get it in the first year there, but I just think there's going to be some people that's going to hold up certain things against him. Probably the ERA. Again, probably that he only has 90. He's only 90 games over 500 for his career there. Not close to the 300 wins there. But again, he has a 300,000 strikeouts, and of course he has a Cy Young, and he has a World Championship with the Yankees, and he's a 6-time All-Star. So I think there's enough there. He will get in eventually. Will it be a year 1? I think it's a little bit of a 50-50 toss-up, but by year 2, year 3, if he's not in the Hall of Fame, something's definitely wrong. So that's the episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to everything I mentioned before. Enjoy this holiday season, and I have a happy 2025.
Yeah.